Welcome to my new podcast. I'm sitting in my podcast studio, and this is episode number 1 of the Alix Mayer Show. I've been wanting to do this for years, but we were so busy fighting mandates when we got started in 2020 that we really didn't have time to put together a professional podcast like this. But now is the time, and there are still issues of medical freedom right now. In fact, I would say that they're practically worse than they were in 2020. So this podcast is very needed right now. I'm going to be interviewing thought leaders around politics, science, medicine, and I think you're really going to like the show. I'm really excited to do it, and I'm really excited to do it with you and your feedback. So you may wonder what I'm doing here and if I just like being on camera or just like leading organizations, but I have a backstory that really put me in this position quite naturally. In 1996, I was living in the San Francisco area right after business school. I had a great life. I was windsurfing, I was hiking, mountain biking. I had a great social life. And my family called and they said, "Hey, Alix, do you want to go to Bali?" And I said, "Sure, that sounds great. Let's do that trip." And so for this vacation, I thought I needed vaccines. And so I went to travel medicine at Palo Alto Medical Foundation. I rolled up my sleeve and I just said, "Give me everything you have because I don't want to get any of those scary diseases." And to my great shock and surprise and dismay, 2 weeks later, when I was in Bali, my legs collapsed out underneath me and they turned into noodles. I started weeping, and I'm not an emotionally labile person normally, and I really didn't know what was going on, but that was the onset of my vaccine injury that has now lasted 30 years. That's my origin story. Ultimately, that's why I'm here. Fast forward a whole bunch, and I eked out a recovery little by little every year. But eventually I got to the point where I had enough time in the day where I felt well enough that I could start a blog, and I started writing online, and eventually I could only write about health politics. So in about 2017, 2018, after Children's Health Defense formed, I thought, I'd really like to donate my time and be on a board of an organization like that that's really making a difference. And I thought, wow, Bobby Kennedy is really well known outside of the vaccine safety movement, and he's also doing lawsuits. So I ended up joining the Children's Health Defense National Board with Bobby Kennedy. Then he asked me in 2020 to start the California chapter of Children's Health Defense, along with 2 other women who lived in California who are also on the national board. So we got that thing off the ground in spring of 2020, right as we got locked down. And it was unbelievable. We always joked around and said, we're building the plane as we fly it, because there was so much going on to get the organization off the ground and serving the public. In 2023, we separated from Children's Health Defense and rebranded as Free Now Foundation. And so that's what we're known as today. But we have the same portfolio of lawsuits. Our board came with us, and so did most of our teams. So it's really an exciting place to be right now. And Free Now Foundation is the organization I always dreamed it could be. And I'm so happy and proud that we're serving California and trying to fix this problem around medical freedom issues in California. Like everything, if people haven't experienced something for themselves, they don't really think it's real. And so most of the people in the world have not experienced vaccine injuries. So they might think that I'm crazy and all the people who know about vaccine injury are crazy. But when you know for sure that you were normal the day before your vaccines, and then days or a couple weeks or maybe months later, you were not normal and you never got back to your normal after that, you would be on the same page as I am and be as passionate as I am about this work, about letting people know that they always have a choice. I think it's really important that people understand both the costs and the benefits of vaccination and always make that decision for yourself. I can't tell anybody what to do. I'm anti-vaccine for myself. But for everybody else, just do your research. So the Alix Mayer Show is going to be all about issues of medical freedom, and I'm going to bring you the best thought leaders in that area, whether they're medical doctors, politicians, scientists, lawyers, and I am going to drill down on issues of medical freedom from their perspective. And I really can't wait to share these guests with you. A lot of them I've known for many, many years, and I'm just really looking forward to the opportunity to pull out of them like all of their thoughts about how we can make the world a better place if we truly have medical freedom. It's really important to bring other vaccine injured people into the light. So I'm also going to be having vaccine injured people on the show to talk about their stories, because a lot of people are already vaccine injured and they don't recognize it until they hear someone else's story. They suddenly start identifying with some of the specifics in these stories and they figure out that they're vaccine injured. And why is that important? Like, why should you care about that? Because if you know the cause of your symptoms, that's the path to get better. I really love doing this work despite all the attacks and censorship that I go through and the Free Now Foundation goes through. I mean, our site's been labeled unsafe. We even had a text message labeled as spam. I didn't even think that was possible. We have a petition out and that landing page is labeled unsafe. We can't get discounts like other nonprofits can for a lot of our apps because of what we do. So we're constantly running into these roadblocks, but you know what? It's all worth it because what we are able to do is successful. We are going to end medical mandates. We are going to expand exemptions while we still have mandates, and we want to stop the practice of hospital homicide. And it's not just informed consent or medical freedom. It is our freedom that's at stake. Do you remember when we were locked down and our whole Bill of Rights was demolished because of a virus? It's going to happen again. It might not be a virus, it might be climate change, but they're coming after us in so many different ways. And if we can cement our rights right now in court, then in the future, it will not be mandatory to be vaccinated. And if we have a social credit score society, for example, the first social credit score, they want that to be vaccination status. But if we've made it illegal to mandate vaccines, then that can never be a binary social credit score again. And by that, I mean, you have a vaccine, you can do everything. You don't have a vaccine, you can't do anything. So it will never become a binary in the future if we can win our case in federal court to outlaw vaccine mandates. This isn't just about winning lawsuits and winning in court so we can say we got those wins. This is about saving people from chronic illness. This is about saving lives. And ultimately, this is about saving our freedom as a society and protecting our Bill of Rights, because a lot of the issues we take to court are cemented solidly in the Constitution and our Bill of Rights. And we have to protect that now. Otherwise, it could go away. You know, I'm approaching 60 now, and I have no intention of slowing down. I'm excited to be adding podcasting to the mix of what we do at Free Now Foundation. All of these podcasts are going to be free to everyone, and the only thing we ask in return is that you click subscribe and you share episodes with your friends and family, and that'll really help us get off the ground and get this message out to the people who need to hear it. So thank you so much for your support. If you want to join our Legal Warriors Club for $1 a day, it's billed at $30 a month. That really, really helps us with our recurring revenues. And then also, if you know a billionaire or close to billionaire who just really loves this work and this work is so important to them, send them my way. We would really love to be able to do this work without having to ask everybody so often for donations. But we need them, so I do need to keep asking. I'm so excited for this, the first episode to launch. We're going to be releasing an episode where I interview Lara Logan in studio. After that, John Stockton, the famous basketball player from the Utah Jazz, the Hall of Famer. I've got an incredible list of other guests that I'm going to be bringing to you, and I think you're going to enjoy every single one of them. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.